Welcome to TeTes Tutorials, a draggy DIY. This is a beginner's wig revival guide showing you how to wash, detangle and bring back to life your synthetic wigs. I'm going to be taking my most ratty, most destroyed wig and making her fabulous again. This girl has seen too many nights on the town. Today is her lucky day. If I can bring this wig back to life, then I'm pretty sure you can breathe life into any old wig lying around your house. You are going to need your most disheveled wig, a selection of brushes or combs, a hairdryer, sectioning clips, shampoo, detergent or soap, fabric conditioner and a lot of patience. To begin, you are going to start by running your wig under warm to hot water, making sure you turn it and rotate it and open it up so the water soaks right through. Sometimes you can think it's wet and then you turn it over and the other side is dry. You also might need to pick out any old fake lashes you find lying around in there. Apply a generous amount of shampoo, soap or detergent and then begin squeezing it through the hair, making sure again that you get right through the middle and the underneath of the hair and pull downwards as you do it. You'll soon see that hopefully it'll become nice and bubbly. That means our wig's getting clean. Once you feel like your wig is clean enough, you want to rinse it through with warm water again. I recommend to start running the water through the inside of the cap and work your way downwards. This just makes sure that all the soap comes out from the roots. Because my wig is especially dirty, I actually gave it a second shampoo. You can do this, but you don't have to. It depends how much of a messy queen you are. Once all the soap is rinsed out, I then put some fabric conditioner straight onto the wig. Again, making sure that it soaks through thoroughly. The fabric conditioner acts as a detangler. When the conditioner is on the hair, you can then begin pulling apart any large knots you find. You will generally find that most of the knots will be on the underneath of your wig, so I recommend starting there. You can gently tease apart knots with your fingers, pulling outwards and downwards away from the wig cap. This just loosens up the hair. Time to start brushing. Always start brushing your wigs from the ends downwards. So basically you want to start off by using a softer bristled brush, and you want your bristles to get harder the smoother your hair gets. So in the beginning I'm going to use a tangle teaser and I'll end up using a fine-tooth comb. Once you feel like the knots are all out the ends of your hair, you want to work your way up. This is just to make sure that you don't create more knots that you'll have to detangle later. Every now and then I take my section of hair and run it under warm to hot water. This is just to loosen the fibres and take away any unwanted volume or frizziness. And just keep brushing. Brush, 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 brush. Brush, 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 brush. Brush, brush, brush. Keep brushing. It really helps to pull apart the knots, so I keep doing this, always pulling downwards away from the wig cap. When you feel like you've detangled as many knots as you can bear, I then begin pouring a kettle of boiling hot water over the hair, being very careful not to scald your hands. Remember that the water will seep through the hair, so be very, very careful about the angle in which you do this. When the hair is still hot but cool enough to touch, you want to start brushing it as quickly as you can, again starting from the bottom and working your way up. This gives a similar effect to what a steamer does. The hot water will loosen the fibres of the hair, but remember that because it's plastic, as it cools down it will stiffen. So I keep dipping it in the hot water to loosen the fibres up as I detangle. I use the hot water in the basin to take away any unwanted volume. I dip it in and brush it, and dip it in and brush it over and over again, trying to get rid of as many knots as possible. You can add fabric conditioner again if you feel like the water has rinsed it all off. you've got incredibly bored of that, you can then squeeze out the excess water from your wig with a towel and begin pinning it onto your wig head. Make sure you pin your hair down properly. That just means that when you're brushing and pulling on your wig, it's not going to damage it. The best way to pin down a wig is to take a piece of ribbon and place it across the hairline nice and tightly, placing pins through the ribbon and the wig about an inch apart, making sure that you get the underneath as well. When you've pinned your wig down, you then want to take a section from the underneath of your wig, making sure you pin the rest of the hair out of the way. I take a section approximately 2 inches tall or 4 wefts tall. You don't want to be too ambitious with how much hair you take, especially if you've got lots and lots of knots like my wig. I diluted some fabric conditioner into a spray bottle, approximately 1 part fabric conditioner to 10 parts water. This is going to act as a detangler, as you might use on your normal hair. I always start brushing from the bottom upwards. This is really, really important. Brush, 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 brush. Brush, brush, brush. Keep brushing. And you will see that as I'm brushing, I switch between hairbrushes, going from a soft bristled brush to harder bristled brushes as it detangles. I don't know if this makes an incredible difference, but in my mind it does. When you feel like your hair is starting to smooth out, you then want to take a wide tooth comb and start working that through the hair. You will find that this again catches different knots, much smaller knots that often slip through the brush. You can use your comb to work the knots out of the hair slowly. I use the tip and pull downwards towards the ends of the hair, making sure you singular out each individual knot. It's actually pretty satisfying. You then want to repeat this process through your entire section of hair, brushing and combing, from the ends up. When you feel like all your knots are out, you then want to take a small 4 inch by 2 inch section of hair and pull it as tightly as you can. You can use your brush to assist you, pulling the hair as taut as possible. This is what's going to give you the smoothness or the straightness of your hair. I start from the root and work my way down with a blow dryer, always pointing the air downwards towards the ends of the hair. After the first time you've gone down your section of hair, you might notice that there's some very, very small, tight knots in the hair. I take a very fine tooth comb and individually comb out each of these tiny knots. I repeat this process through the entire section. Again, taking 4 inch by 2 inch sections, pulling them tightly and blow drying them downwards, constantly moving my hairdryer. Constantly need to keep your hairdryer moving, even if just a fraction. This is to make sure that you don't melt the hair. If you focus the heat directly on one section of hair, you will melt the hair, so make sure your hairdryer is constantly moving. Once all the knots are out, it's much easier to get that nice tautness that you need to smooth the hair out. So just repeat the process until you're happy with the smoothness of your hair. Do the same thing through the entire section of hair and then work your way up the wig using the technique. It gets much easier as you work your way up the wig because the underneath tends to be much more knotty and the longest section of hair. I repeat this technique the entire way up my wig. Don't be too intimidated by my process. Your wig is likely to be much easier to detangle than mine. Most synthetic wigs are pretty good at enduring a bit of heat these days. You should be able to see while you're blow drying if your hair is straightening out or if it's starting to warp and melt. This is a very fine line. Just keep an eye on it, and if you smell anything funny, stop blow drying. When I get to the top, I go over it with my wide tooth comb and my fine tooth comb, making sure that I haven't missed any knots along the way. It's super satisfying smoothing the hair out, so take your time. Always remember to point your hairdryer downwards. You don't want to create more knots. Sometimes if you overuse the fabric conditioner, there can be a sticky residue left on the wig. You may want to give it another rinse with warm water, but remember, you will have to blow dry it again. When you finally comb through your wig, you might see that there's lots of fallout and tiny knots that have accumulated on the floor. I actually like to keep this waist hair and use it to bump up my wigs when I'm styling them, but I'll show you how to do that later. And there you have it, the wig transformation I never thought I'd complete. This actually can take a good few hours, but I've had a bit of free time and it was totally worth it because now I've got my gorgeous wig back and she looks so fresh, ready for me to destroy again. Thank you for listening, and please keep posted. If there's anything you would like to see in the future, please do let me know.